We're going to talk about my quarter one TBR today. I'm Niki, the obsessive bookseller, and I love picking the books that I'm going to be reading next. And I also love trying out new reading systems. It seems like every time I pick one and I get really excited about it, I abandon it a week or two later in favor of something else. But I have found a TBR system that helps me prioritize all of my really excited to read books, helps me from getting distracted on other things, and it's actually working. I've been running it since November 1st, where I went through and figured out how many books that I could read in a specific quarter, wrote them all down, and I've been systematically crossing out everything. And I have a little spot here where I'm writing out series that I would like to get to for the next quarter, like kind of a little mini TBR. And then a list of all the series that I will finish if I stick to just this list. It's really helping me. So because it's working so well, I decided to set my quarter. I started it in November, so I just set a random quarter until the end of January. But it makes more sense to go like within the calendar year, starting at January, going till the end of March. So I have recreated my TBR for January through March. And here are all of the series that I'm hoping to focus on in that time frame. Priority 1, Shadows of the Apt by Adrian Tchaikovsky. This is books 5 and 6 right here. Scarab's Path and The Sea Watch. I'm at the end of a story arc with the end of book 4, so I have no idea what he's going to do in these books, and I'm so excited for the world building and all the things that I get to explore. Now, ideally, I would be finishing out this series this quarter, but with all of the commitments that I've signed myself up for and challenges, realistically, I can only get through about 2 books, but super excited for these. This will be the first thing I start once I wrap up everything that I'm currently reading for the end of December. The Shadow's Saint, the second book in the Black Iron Legacy by Gareth Hanrahan. I really enjoyed Gutter Prayer. We read it for Patreon Book Club, and it was a delight. Like, absolutely loved it. So much fun. So I will be continuing that one probably in February. It's on the schedule. Veiled Throne by Ken Liu, book 3 in the Dandelion Dynasty series. My patrons and I are continuing after really enjoying the first 2 books. I'm not going to finish out this series this quarter, but we're definitely going to make some progress. These are like 900-page chonkers. This series so far has been so all-encompassing and involved that I really do feel like I need a break between book 2 and book 3. Book 2 was a lot. There was so much packed into that book. I can see why it's a lot of people's, like, one of their all-time favorite books. My favorite thing about this author is I have no idea where he's going with the story next. I have a really good sense of his style now, so I can make some guesses, but overall, he manages to do this all-encompassing chronicling of this fantasy land, but still give you those in-depth character moments that you need to feel connected to it. So it's like this weird hodgepodge of both, and he does that through these weird pacing, like really slow pacing to get you grounded, and then these really fast jumps. Like, it's just so well done. And I love the world building. I love the creativity. He's almost pulling too many tricks out of the hat for me at this point, but I'm with it. Like, very, very well done. Such an intelligent writer. I am continuing my journey with the Sun Eater series by Christopher Rocchio. I'm on book 2, but actually I'm on The Lesser Devil, which is a novella between book 1 and book 2, but all these heavy-hitting series that I'm absolutely loving, and if I can progress all of them forward this quarter, I'm going to be doing amazing. But I'm really enjoying this one. There's not a single thing I didn't like about the first book. I'm totally in it. I love the writing style. I love the world building. I love the characters. I love the plot. Like, everything has me so engaged. And I love the aliens. The aliens are really good. And after finishing the first book, I normally would be going into the next ones nervous that he's not going to hold it up to the same standard, but I hear it only gets better. So what's not to love? Super excited for this one. Combat Codes by Alexander Darwin. This is one of those books that I'm so excited to start, have been excited to start for over a year now, but have yet to make time to actually read it. That you ever get those, like the ones that you're just saving for a rainy day? And I've put myself into too many other commitments to just drop everything and pick up whatever I want, which is not a good way to live life. In any case, I'm committed. This quarter, it's happening one way or another. I am finally reading Combat Codes. And I have a few patron picks also. These are books that weren't on my immediate radar, but I knew I'd like to read eventually, that I expedited because they were on my patrons' TBRs, and I found it's a lot of fun to pick up books kind of outside my planned reading, and we found quite a few really delightful reads that I wouldn't have gotten to for years and years. So this is my spice of variety to my reading, if you will. First up, starting January 1st, which is today, we are reading Master of Jinn by Clark. I haven't read a whole lot with Jinn in it, but I did read the Bartimaeus trilogy by Stroud and absolutely loved it. So it's kind of got that spark of excitement for this one as well. I know nothing about the story, but I'm a chapter in already and it's very moody. It's got a very time period quality, set in Egypt with some dark magics going on. I think it'll be pretty cool. So I'm looking forward to that one. We're also reading Spinning Silver by Naomi Novik. I'm pretty sure I'm the only one on the planet who enjoyed Uprooted. Like, I know that's not true, but BookTube makes me feel like I'm a freak for really liking that book. But I tend to love everything Naomi Novik produces. Oddly, this is the only one of her lineup that I probably would not read without being forced to, because I just don't like retellings generally. And this is like a Rumpelstiltskin retelling, but I know she's probably going to do a good job with it. But anytime I know anything about where the plot's going, I tend to not like it. And like, I know how Rumpelstiltskin ends. I've read the fairy tale. I've watched once. That one should be fun. That one's definitely out of my current comfort zone reading right now. We're doing Lock In by John Scalzi. I really like his writing. He's good for a breath of fresh air every now and then. He's got short reads. They're usually funny. They're usually clever. So I'm expecting more of the same. It's been about a year since I've read the Kaiju Preservation Society and a few since I've read Collapsing Empire and The Old Man's War and whatnot. So I'm ready to read more of his works. And a patron and I are continuing our journey with A Time of Blood by John Gwynne. This is book 2 in the Of Blood and Bone trilogy, the follow-up to Faithful and the Fallen. Book 1 didn't win me over. Will book 2 win me over? We'll find out. And then my patron Jen and I might be impromptuli picking up Brissinger by Christopher Paglioni. It's funny how we got to a point where we're setting up a buddy read for a third book in a series that I haven't picked up in years and years. But I read the first 2 when they came out. I actually got the second one as an ARC back when I was like 17. Devoured it immediately, loved it, and then the wait for the third book was so long that I lost all momentum. And then I kept hearing reviews that they weren't as good. Like the third book kind of sucked. Whatever. But I'm like, I'm going to push through anyway. So I reread about 5 or 6 years ago books 1 and 2 with the intent of continuing on to book 3 and then never did. I might have to read it at a snail's pace because I have so many other things going on, but that one will be read. Demons for Good and Evil by Kim Harrison, the latest Hollows book. I've had it on my TBR ever since it came out, and I have yet to pick it up. I don't want to talk about it again. Shadow Puppets by Orson Scott Card. It's book 3 in the Shadow subseries of the Ender universe. Really loved the first one, probably my favorite read of last year. The second one was okay. I really loved some things in it. There were like 5-star moments in about a 3-star read. And this one, you know, I'm in it now. I'm enjoying the world enough. I'm enjoying the writing enough that I'm just looking forward to seeing more in this world. I need a little more Emily Henry in my life, so I'm also planning on People We Meet on Vacation. These are all standalone romance novels, and I like that they're not intertwined. Some romance novels will get cutesy and be like, okay, we're focusing on this couple, and then in the next book we'll focus on the best friend, and then the sister, and then the parent, whatever. I like that these are independent of one another, completely different worlds, completely different characters. By worlds, I think I mean reality or setting or whatever, because it's definitely all on Earth. But that would be a cool thing. Give me an Emily Henry sci-fi romance. Anyway, I really like those as palate cleansers. It's just such a delight. The Seven Swords series by Anthony Ryan. How many times have I flashed Blackfire Keep up on the screen because I wanted to get to it, and it had been a whole year since it had come out, and I still hadn't read it, even though it's a novella and it takes like an hour. And then the 5th book came out, and so I'm like, you know what? The reason I'm hesitating on reading it is because I don't remember everything that happened in the first couple of books. Not with the level of detail I want to have anyway going into an Anthony Ryan. So my plan is to reread the entire set of 5, treat it like one novel, and see where that gets me. I'd like to continue the Inheritance trilogy cycle by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. The first book was really fun. It was a long time coming for me to read it because I had set it up for different projects but never got around to it. I really liked the first one. I don't like it as much as I loved her Naturals series, but it was still better than 90% of the YA that I've read. So I enjoyed it enough to want to continue. I love the author, and evidently it goes beyond these two books. I think there's a fourth one out. I don't know if it's a companion or if it's like a continuation, like an actual continuation. I always assume when I see new books out that they're going to be in trilogy sets. And so I'll be like, oh yeah, the conclusion's coming out. Yeah, it's not the conclusion. I do that all the time. Anyway, looking forward to those. Empire of Exiles by Erin Evans. This is one of those new releases that I wish I had prioritized because I want to have read it. The second one comes out this year, and it just looks like a lot of fun. Now, I'm nervous because books that don't get a lot of attention, they could go either way. I could really love it or really hate it. It seems to be kind of like middle of the road for a lot of people, but I'm hopeful. It's alliterative out the butt, like Erin Evans, Empire of an Exile, like I'm all about that. As if I didn't have enough Tchaikovsky in my world, I would also like to read Cage of Souls. I'm trying to pick a couple of the standalone ones to kind of mix in with everything else, because if I'm going to read his whole repertoire, I'm going to need to like chip away at it because he comes out with so many new ones. But this one, I don't even know what it's about. I know it's a sci-fi just from word of mouth, but the cover is what sells me. I think it is so beautiful, and I can't wait to read it. Because you haven't even seen this one in a haul yet, but I bought myself these really nice hardcovers of Legacy of Ash and the rest of this series by Matthew Ward, and I would really like to prioritize it to justify the purchase. So this is a slowly paced high fantasy series. I actually started it ages ago. I did a audio production quality review for AudioFile magazine of the audio copy of this, and I really enjoyed what I was reading. But, you know, with so many commitments and with an obligation read, I set it down with the intent to go back to it and never made it back. Yeah, this is where we're at. But at least I know I liked the story. I liked the atmosphere and the immersion. Don't remember anything about it. So, yeah, looking forward to those. Hopefully it wasn't a wasted purchase. I also have a couple of arcs that I'd like to make time for. The first one, most importantly, Trials of Empire by Richard Swan. This is the third and final book to his trilogy. It comes out in February. I don't have a lot of time between now and then to read it, but I'm super excited. The second book in the series was one of my all-time favorite reads. Like, I loved it so much. Put it down and was like raving and really sad that I couldn't read the next one right away. And so I'm really hoping that the lag in momentum between that one and this one won't have me forgetting too many things, and that he can build a momentum back within this book itself so that I can really careen towards the end, because I can't wait. I really love his writing. And as if one ignored Kim Harrison book on my lineup wasn't enough, I thought I'd add another. She has 3 Kinds of Lucky, start of a new trilogy, start of a new series. See, I did it again. New series coming out sometime in March, and I'm excited for this one. I love her creativity, and I don't think the Hollow series is dead. I think she is thriving with it, and every new book comes out has me compelled to read more. And sometimes when series get that far along, you think just end it already. But it's really fun that she's mixing things up with this new one, and I'd like to support it, and I hope it's going to be good. I also have The Fireborn Blade by Charlotte Bond. This is a novella that comes out mid-year sometime, maybe April. I don't know anything about it, but I'm trying to experiment more with arcs this year, and this is the one that I picked as like a really good candidate to get read, probably because it's short, but it also has dragons. And I think it's a debut author, so that'll be fun. I'll be the first to admit that I have way too many series going. Like, I'm hoping to get myself down to a point where when I'm presenting a TBR, I can actually read like a whole series within a given time frame. And the ones I'm focused on are fewer. But it takes, I mean, I dug myself into this hole over the course of years and years, so it's going to be a while before I dig myself out. In any case, things like this that are standalones, the Frugal Wizard's Handbook by Brandon Sanderson, part of the Secret Project releases, they don't get a lot of priority because I'm trying to always dig myself out of series. Yeah, and then I start new ones for projects all the time with Read, Burn, Hoard and several other things and Patreon Book Club, and so yeah, I say I want to change, but then I'm not making any active decisions to make that happen. Whatever. I would like to read this one. I would like to read all of the secret projects, but I figure if I can at least fit in 1 per quarter, I'm doing good. Even better if I can fit in 2. Yumi is also on the list. And speaking of Read, Burn, Hoard, I need to film 2 of those videos throughout the next quarter, at least. So I need to plan on reading 2 surprise books from that. I don't even know yet. I haven't picked the shelves. I'm also running a challenge with my patrons, which runs 1/4 ahead of time on Patreon, and then it goes live on the channel a quarter later. And for that one, I'm committed to reading 5 books, so with my little tracker, I had to make sure I left a slot for all of those. This list is too ambitious. I tried to narrow it down. Normally I'd have like 50 things, but I got it down to 31 books. That's about 10 books per month. I know my average, and I know the size of these tomes. I'm only going to be able to read about 6 or 7 per month, but that's okay. I'm giving myself variety. I'm not sticking to like I have to read them in a certain order, except for the ones that are buddy reads and scheduled already. But it gives me flexibility, and whenever I am tempted to pick up something not on the list, I can pull this out and be like, hey, this is your reading goals. These are the things you have decided are the highest priority right now. Is this other one that high a priority, or is it just like, ooh, shiny syndrome, I must have it now? It's really been helpful for my focus. Assuming that this project continues to go well for me and actually helps me curb my spastic reading impulses, I'll be posting another quarterly TBR at the beginning of April and giving you like a follow-up on how well I did on sticking to this list. Now, granted, I do always add in a few nonfiction, but for some reason I don't count those. Nonfiction is the only part of my reading life where I truly pick it up on a whim. I don't care if I reread things. Like, I'm like a little kid again with nonfiction books. Why I can't do that with my science fiction fantasy, I have no idea. I don't know why there's such a... Like, if I want to read something and it's not on the plan, I just pick it up and read it. If I did that here, I get myself in so much trouble. I get so buried because I have too many books going at once. My weird reading is a rant for another video. Thank you for joining me on this. Let me know which books are on your TBR for the foreseeable future and which one of these you think I should prioritize over the others. Thank you for watching with me. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye.